Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. Good morning, good day. Thank you for your practice. Thank you for your support, liking, subscribing to these videos. It's very important to the algorithms to expand our Sangha, so thank you for that Bodhisattva work. I wanted to touch on a subject that I regularly talk about, either specifically in specific videos titled about this or within the context of the other discussions, whether it be Goshos or sutras or whatever. I think it's a question that comes up a lot, and I answered an email this morning, and hopefully that person will listen to this video. I'm always concerned because I think of myself as a very, and people have told me I'm very direct. I think, and it may be a cultural thing where I come from and so forth, but when you see a video like this and I'm being direct, there's all these pregnant pauses and the demeanor, the visual cues from my facial expressions and the way I talk about things. It's very, obviously, this is stating the obvious, but that doesn't get transmitted in words of an email. And I've often found, and I've gone back and reread not just emails, but posts and things. And, I'll have occasion to either very quickly or sometime later review something I've written down. And sometimes I recoil at my own, either the force of the words or sometimes I lose the point. I meander a bit. And I tend to write the way I speak. But again, without the benefit of inflection and expression and blah, blah, blah. So I'm constantly worried that when I respond to an email and I try to be earnest and say what my thoughts as clearly as possible, that does not necessarily mean it transmits that way. So, suffice it to say, I think I'm a little more comfortable in this medium as a communicator. And what I want to talk about is, you hear me all the time saying Buddhism is about the mind. It's about attitude and intent. And all of that, this resource that I've created for these videos, the podcast, the documents, the threefoldlotus.com, the bookstore, it's all in service to inspire, to solidify, to create confidence, and correctly practice Shakyamuni's teachings of the Lotus Sutra for our self-enlightenment, right? That's what the Myoho Renge Kyo is. But sometimes in all of that talk, and as I say, I've addressed this before, but it's a constant, we lose sight of, and I include myself in this, we lose sight of how our practice translates into daily life, samsara. And I think this is a very important distinction to make, because I don't want to go on a rant about all these groups and sects and so forth that have misappropriated language to entice membership. Yeah, you've heard me talk a lot about the adoption of Western-styled religious wording in Buddhism, which is abhorrent, and I'm not going to go into it again. But there's another kind of bias that finds its way into Buddhist teaching, not the teachings of Shakyamuni and Nichiren, but certainly in the teachings of these groups and various sects and so forth. And that is the cultural imperative. And whether you know it or not, whether it's a communist or socialist or whatever they call themselves, the world is capitalist. The world is capitalist. China can sit on its high horse and say, we're communist socialist and we're blah, 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 blah. They're freaking capitalists. Everything they do is manipulation of money and economy is power. And if the economy isn't powerful enough, we'll invent enough tools of destruction to go and threaten you for your money. That's the world we live in. So let's just be awake to that. But what we're not so, and I believe you know that. I don't have to tell you that. But what's not so obvious is that from early childhood, television, commercials, internet, parents, friends, work associates, without explicitly saying it, although very often explicitly, we are meant to look at our lives as somehow inadequate. What have you done? What have you accomplished? The hidden message and the obvious message is, what are you worth? And if you're not worth X, then shut up. What you have to say isn't important unless it comes with this economy, right? There it is. It's very violent, actually. It's very brutal. And so we're turned into these little hamsters that are constantly running around in our wheel to better, more, better, more, better, more. Could there be a more obvious engine of desires and what Shakyamuni would call craving than that? So my friends, I'm making this hopefully short video to once again reach into your hearts and minds to let you know I get it. Buddhism gets it. Shakyamuni gets it. Life, this human samsaric reality, is full of negativity-inducing, stress-inducing, anxiety-inducing imperatives that seem to be built in. And you know what? We know it. We know it from childhood. We know it. We push it away, but we're quite aware. And usually for adults, it starts to creep in a little later into your 40s or so. And you start thinking of life as kind of bullshit. This ain't making me happy. I don't need all this stuff, but it's hard. We are deeply trained into stuff. And our age is all about greed, manipulate, in Buddhism, anger, but anger in Buddhism is manipulation, backstabbing, blah, 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 all in the service of what? Greed, more, more, more. And when Buddhism talks about stupidity or foolishness, if you want to be more PC, it's that we don't recognize that. Okay, you've heard all this before, so you're like saying, so what are you saying, Sylvain? I have my practice, and I have my life. How do the two come together? How can I be an effective bodhisattva if I don't make $170,000 a year or more? How? And what I want to remind you of is that's a false equation. Oh, now he's going to tell me to be a monk and go live in a cave. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. First, get your practice right. That's the first thing. And so this is why I hammer on this so much. These groups and sects and so forth that keep telling you that your practice is about achieving success. Those are the enemies of Buddha. Those are the Berlin Wall of Buddha. No, that is not Buddhism. Right? You've heard me say this many times. Your attitude and your intent. When you chant, when you recite, when you use this mandala to awaken your Gohonzon mind, that is all that is about. And believe me, it's more than enough. It's difficult enough to focus your practice to awaken your Buddha mind is everything, the only thing that your practice is for. Oh, but Sylvain, I mean, what use is that? How am I going to make that change anything in my life? Hello? See, the reason you have this confusion is because of the horrendously bad teachers that have exposed you to the capitalist mindset in a religious way. And capitalism is a religion. Let me just say that. What was it Trent Reznor said? God, money? Yeah, believe you me, capitalism is a religion because it's fervent and unreasonable, and it steps on the little in order to get. There's no more example of greed and anger, manipulation, and utter stupidity than capitalism. Sorry, some of you may be avowed capitalists, but if you want to sit down with me and you want to talk about what capitalism is, I think I can change your mind. But that's not Buddhism. That is the diametrically opposite of Buddhism. How can anyone read Shakyamuni's sutras or Nichiren's letters or Tendai or any Buddhist scholar and not see that? And yet, they do it all the time. Chant for a better job. Chant for more money. Chant for fortune. You know what fortune is in Buddhism? Buddha-ness. When you attain Buddha-ness, clarity of mind, you have everything. And I'm not talking humble, quiet. No. Don't conflate the two in a competitive, craving way. It's Buddhism is the opposite of that. So, all right. So I said that enough. How does that translate into daily life? Well, whatever your freight train of karma instantiates you as. I don't care if you're a restaurant worker, an artist, an architect, an engineer, a scientist. If you're a florist, self-employed, if you're a house painter, a window washer, whatever your karmic engine has placed you in samsara, the success of that is not measured by the size of your house, the cost of your car or truck. These are not things to measure value with. This is so hard to understand because it's so ingrained in us that if you don't have that, then you're that. right? This whole debasement of who you are. You're Buddha. Doesn't matter what circumstance you find yourself in life. That's just samsara. And in the words of people much wiser than me, step all over my grammar here, it's how you work with what you've got, not a matter of how much you've got. I know I've met people with lots of money and fortune and amassed wealth who are assholes. And I've met some people with great wealth who are beatific. They're such wonderful people. Not as many, I'm sorry to say, but... you thought I was going to say, I've met people who are poor. No. I'm not feeding you the regular propaganda here, okay? What I do want to say, though, is whatever you're doing in life, if you bring to it your Buddha mind, then you will become the most effective and efficient person given your circumstance. And the one thing I want to guarantee you, and don't misconstrue it, the higher your life condition, the more your environment, remember your environment is your reflector of your life condition. If you raise your life condition, which is the only thing your practice is about, then obviously your environment will support you. Shakyamuni says it all the time. So does Nichiren. Right? The Buddhas from all the 10 directions will be pleased. They will protect you. They will support you. All of that. I always forget that. I use this word all the time in daily life, but when it comes to recording, it just goes away. Oh my goodness, it's so frustrating. Don't get old. It sucks. Look, all of that rhetoric is about the reflection of your own enlightenment in the world around you. So obviously, if you're determined when you chant, right now, Buddha, now, I want it now. I want to become wiser, gain this wisdom of what life is truly, where the value of life truly is. And as a human being, my 2 roles in life are to witness Buddha-ness and to inspire and influence, radiate into my environment that very thing, so that my environment is imbued with the same wisdom. And if there's any truth to that, and we have no reason to think it's not, we have plenty of examples to show it, this is how you'll notice in your practice how it's functioning in your life, because your environment will change. Certain types of people may no longer appear in your life. Other opportunities may appear in your life. You may not be ready to take them on because you're timid. You're not sure if you can do it. That's because you're not chanting enough. Because if you're chanting to open your Buddha mind, when an opportunity comes, even if you're not sure you're ready for it, you seize upon it. Because you know that's the Buddhas coming to your aid. That is a new way of thinking about success, isn't it? Maybe it's a new job. Maybe it's a totally different opportunity. But it's not about, the value isn't in the finances, in the position. The value is that your environment is supporting your Buddha freight train. And that's saying, with all of your karmic energies and what your capacity is, we're going to take the environment and make sure it rolls out the red carpet for you to express it fully. That's how our Buddhist practice manifests itself in samsara. You don't have to chant about that. It will occur. It occurs because you awaken your Buddha-ness. That's how the two are not melding, they're the same. That's the most important message I can give you on this. If you're concerned at all about your state of affairs in samsara, take all of that concern and go, okay, you sit over here and be quiet. Mommy's going to go work on Buddha-ness. Daddy's going to go work on Buddha. You just be quiet. Play with your Legos. Go to your Butsudan. Open it up. Look at that mandala. Look down the treasure tower. Focus on Myoho. And do it. Right now, I'm opening my Buddha-ness. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Right now, I want to feel it in every cell of my body. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Right now. But that kind of determination, not I want my life to be better, I want so-and-so to feel better, I don't want to be in a that's samsara. Just stick it in a bag and put it aside. And when you get in front of that Butsudan, in front of that mandala, focus your monkeys, your monkey mind. Put their attention on Buddha-ness. And chant as long as you have to feel, to see it happen, to feel it happen, to inculcate it in every cell of your body. When you've filled up, when you feel the vibrations, the joy, the fulfillment, whatever bodily sensation in your mind that you feel, thank you. Always thank your Buddha-ness for showing up. Respectfully close your Butsudan. Put it to rest. Now you've got it. Every cell in your body is going, oh yeah, this is amazing. Then walk into life in that huge bag of samsara that you had to struggle to put aside. It'll just look like a lunchbox. It won't be that big of a deal. Because your life now is filled with Buddha wisdom, understanding that life is life. It's amazing. Oh, what do I have today? All we have to eat is peanut butter and stale bread. Isn't that great? Let's make our sandwich. Let's move forward and watch as your environment changes. Your effort is in your practice. Your environments will reflect it. You don't have to work on hammering it into submission. That's our social, cultural mindset. It's wrong. It's what creates our suffering. Listen, you can be an architect. Whether that's your goal or not, fine, have an operating, path that you'd like to see happen. But if your path moves you elsewhere, have the Buddha wisdom to follow that Buddhist path. Maybe you thought you wanted 10 years of schooling to be an architect, and you discovered you wanted to be a different kind of an engineer. Wow, my path changed. Don't fight it. If it's coming from Gohanzon, then follow Gohanzon path, because it will lead you to opportunities you didn't even know your karmic makeup would fully express. See, these just are words that I use all the time. Potential, expression. Your karmic freight train of karma, energy, has potential, certain potentials. You have different ones than I do. How that potential is going to express itself is a function of your enlightenment, not your samsaric desires and cravings and manipulations. Do you see? I'm not saying it's bad to have goals. I'm saying understand your goals in the context of enlightenment. If your potential can express itself in a way that is bodhisattva, and you chant for the enlightenment, the wisdom to let that happen, wow, that is a fully expressed, joy-filled life, is it not? You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing and being rewarded for it because your environment is saying, yay, full expression of you. Yay, look, you're doing everything in your potential. Maybe you're the greatest window washer on earth. Who cares? It's about your enlightenment and your influence of enlightenment on your environment. That's all. Everything else is capitalism, is politic, is economics. That's samsara. That's what's causing the suffering. Do you see? I'm not saying be poor and humble. I'm saying be humbled by your own potential and be overwhelmed at its full manifestation. That's what we're doing, practicing Buddhism. I hope I've communicated that clearly. I've tried before, and maybe I've hit on it a little bit, or maybe not. I feel a little better about this one, but I don't know. Tell me in the comments. Did I lose you? Does it make sense? I want you to be so successful, you don't know what to do with yourself. But I don't want you to measure your success capitalistically, because that's suffering. That's the antithesis of real success. Success is to experience your life fully. I say it all the time. How do you experience your life fully? By manifesting your potential fully. What does that look like in the world? I don't know. Nobody knows except you. You'll know as it's happening. And you'll be wildly successful, if we need to use those terms. That's what I want for you. It's what I want for me. It's what Shakyamuni wanted for all of us. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Thank you for your support. Subscribe, like. That helps our Sangha. If you can, like some of you are patrons financially through Patreon, through PayPal. That's immensely helpful. But most of all, my singular message here, sincerely, single-mindedly attain your Buddhahood. That's all that matters, truly. Thank you for working on that. Thank you for making the effort. Nothing means more. I'll see you in the next one. Okay? I don't know how you write that down in an email. Bye for now. Myo